Yeah, yeah. And he's got his speech, and I'm thinking, I think he'll do it really well. Yeah. But we're testing his mood and all that. Yeah. And every so often he'll be looking at his speech, and I'm thinking, if you don't make him laugh straight away, you're in trouble. So if they don't laugh at your first sort of like joke, just wrap it up and go to the bride and groom. However, I'm going to take his thunder. It's not my wedding. However, let me introduce Chris, the best man.
Scripts a little bit, guys. Okay. It's a bit longer holding there. Right. A wise man once told me that best man's speech only lasts as long as a groom does at making love. So based on that information from Emma, I'd like to thank you all for coming. Right, on a serious note, my name's Chris. Can you hear me back over there? Yeah? Right, give me a pint of Guinness then. Right, I'm very honoured to be doing this job today. And in honorary best man tradition, I'm going to give Sunday the most uncomfortable 10 minutes of his life, which based on his flatulent plug runs at bedtime, is also what Emma has to endure, what she's told me. First things first, it's a pleasure and a privilege to respond on not just my behalf, but also for the bridesmaids for giving us a duty to do this today. And I'm sure you'll agree that the ushers and the bridesmaids have looked absolutely wonderful. Also, Emma's looked absolutely stunning. Yeah. And Ray, understandably, you look stunned. Right. I'm not going to bore you with a long speech due to my throat. Emma's threatened to cut it if we're going for too long. Sunday's also threatened to cut it if I mention the transvestite friend he made in his stag night. Right. A long time ago, before Sunday entered Emma's world, he entered this world on Valentine's Day 1986, and looked at some events from that year. Maradona's hand of God knocked out England in the World Cup. Mike Tyson, aged 20, became the youngest heavyweight champ in the world. Alex Ferguson began his successful manager career at Manchester United. And for the first time, the USA observed Martin Luther King Day as a national holiday for the first time. But the main event that caught my eye was the birth of Nigeria's first hermaphrodite baby. And I'm sure absolutely fantastic. And also, while I was on the internet, some key subjects popped up, and I'd just like to mention a few of them. Aisle, it's the longest walk you'll ever take. The altar, it's where the two people become one. And also a hymn, a celebration of marriage. And as Ray was walking Emma down the altar, I could swear that Emma's been doing the same research, because all I could hear when she was coming down the aisle was, I'll alter him. So I think I've had to make some last minute alterations to this speech based on some advice from my girlfriend there. There's a few things that she didn't think I should mention, so I'll take out the list of ex-girlfriends they'll have to go. The list of ex-wives who are mysteriously widowed. The list of existing wives. And also his indecisive period. A list of boyfriends as well. What's mine I don't know. Right. Also when they got engaged, I don't know if many people know about this, but to ensure his fidelity, Emma had some chastity underpants made for Sunday. And it's on my knowledge that I understand some of the ladies present today have some keys. So if you've got any keys, could you step forward and give me the keys? Ladies, come on. You had them cut on the slide. Guys, don't just stop there. If there's any guys that have got keys as well, can you on them? No. Right, on a serious note, while I was stood there today, Ray started to walk Emma down the aisle. I got a bit of an emotional moment, and I started to think it's funny how history repeats itself, because like 20 odd years ago, I'm sure Ray was sending Emma to bed with a dummy, and 20 odd years later, it's not changed really. Best man's speech involves a series of music and stories about the room. And there's some things that you shouldn't mention, but I'm going to bring them up anyway. Sunday's drinking problem. The main problem is he can't handle his drink. Watch him wear, see if I'm wrong, But based on what I've heard as well, I've heard Richard's an ideal candidate to train him up in that. So I'm sure there was something. There. Secondly, Sunday's ex-girlfriends, as best man, part of my task and duty was to keep them at bay today and away from the big day. And thankfully, to foot and mouth, that got rid of most of it.
So then you can get yours back one day.
Don't be giving her ideas. Right. So you're here now, and they're married, husband and wife, for better or worse, which is very appropriate, as Sunday you couldn't have done much better than Emma, and Emma, you couldn't have done much worse. No, just to end off, I want to give you a list, because I don't think any marriage is complete without a list of, rules or advice that you can set in your way. So here's a list I've compiled. Love, honour and cherish each other. And Sunday, write the date of this wedding on your mirrors. I know it's a place that you look often enough, so... Number 2, your wife is always right. Number 3, rule number 2 doesn't really count, but I think it does. Number 4, Emma, Sunday saw this and made me put that in, so based on that evidence, if he mentions any life insurance, check the notifications on me. Number 5, Sunday, always notice new hairstyles and new dresses and ignore that you up. Emma, football's not just a game, and it's not the taking part that counts. So if he comes home and he's lost, leave him in his man cave. Man cave, it's a rehabilitation of all. Number 7, do something nice for each other every single day for the rest of your lives.
Yep.
Number 8, Sunday, flowers are always a good idea, and not just when you're in trouble either.
Yeah, true.
This is to both of you. A good foot rub or a massage is a brilliant get out of jail card. And number 10, your woman is more important than football. That's not my handwriting. Sorry, I forgot. Right, this bit is strict and it's just, I'd just like to thank you for not just having me as a best man, but on behalf of everyone as a guest for having me in to share your day with you. Sunday, you're an absolutely top mate, and I'm really honoured and privileged to have you as a friend, yeah? So, on the back of that, just to Emma and to all Emma's family, if Sunday's half the husband is that he is a mate to all of his mates, you've got nothing to worry about, nothing to look forward to. So with that, I'd like to raise a toast to the bride and groom.
Thank you. Wonderful.
You need back the test. You need back the test when you're off, didn't it?